Good morning everybody. Today we're at St Mawes and we're going to take the St Mawes to Falmouth ferry shortly. But first of all we thought we'd tell you a little bit about St Mawes itself. So the thing is that this was one of the places, the Carrick Roads, which is the big estuary that's between here and Falmouth, was one of the places where a lot of the D-Day landings were launched from. St Mawes also features quite heavily in film and television, and anybody who's famous, anybody who's familiar with the books of Cormoran Strike, the Strike detective novels, Cormoran Strike was raised here in St Mawes, and Cormoran is also a Cornish word for giant, so that's got a very Cornish link to it. Can't remember anything else about St Mawes.
No, not really. So basically the distance between here and Falmouth, which is where we're going on the ferry, by boat is about a mile. But if you actually go on the road, because of the Carrick Roads that Jill's just explained about, is about 30 miles. So it's a lot easier to go by boat from here.
Definitely.
And hopefully it'll be a lovely little journey.
The weather's looking a bit dodgy today, but it's not too bad, is it? It's not raining,
Well,
which is a start in Cornwall.
Yeah, exactly.
But actually we thought it might be slightly nicer than this, but it doesn't really matter. We're going to enjoy it anyway, aren't we?
Indeed.
So I'm Jill.
And I'm Roger.
And this is Roger. And we are Which Way Now?
Call it off, let it go.
There are a couple of places in Cornwall where average house prices are over £1 million. Rock is one of them, and St Mawes is another. And it's very trendy for rich people to come here. There's a lot of very expensive hotels, restaurants, bars, etc., etc. And yes, it's a lot of it, I would imagine, is owned by second homeowners, but I think some people actually live here all year round as well.
So we're just on the St Mawes to Falmouth ferry, and he's just made his safety announcement, and he said that this ferry will take 100 people. That sounds very cosy and overcrowded to me, but there you go.
It's not the biggest ferry in the world.
No.
There's 5 of us on at the moment, 5 of us and a dog. So
Is there a dog? I didn't see a dog.
Yeah, there's a dog.
Cool.
Yeah, so it's nice and quiet at the moment. Hence the reason we're the only people actually outside.
It's a little bit bumpy, but it's not too bad. And it's only 20 minutes or so over to Falmouth anyway, so it'll be fine. And the lighthouse you can see here is actually called Fraggle Rock Lighthouse. And for those of you of a certain age, you may remember there was a programme called Fraggle Rock, which I think was about baby Muppets or something. I can't actually remember. Don't think I ever saw it. But this was what it was named after. It was named after this particular lighthouse, which is at the end of St Anthony's Head, and that is Fraggle Rock Lighthouse. So this is the Carrick Roads, which is one of the biggest estuaries in the world. Now originally we read that Falmouth Harbour in this estuary was the 3rd largest natural harbour in the world, but then we read it was somewhere in the top 10, so we're not actually too sure because we read it was 7th, 8th, whatever, but it's a very big natural harbour. And as I said earlier, a lot of D-Day landings were launched from here. There's various wooded coves and valleys up this estuary, and a lot of D-Day landings were prepared and launched from up here as well. And actually it's beautiful. I mean, if you go up there, you can take a ferry right up to Malpass and various other places up near Truro as well. And it is stunning if you go up on a boat up the Carrick Roads. Maybe not quite so much today, but it would be stunning on a lovely sunny day, I think. That's Pendennis Castle up there, and we've actually done a really nice walk around that headland and then come back in past the beach on the other side. I can't remember what the beach is called. Is it Gillingvays? I can't remember, but no, I don't think it is. But anyway, it's a lovely walk around the headland and then you can come back through the town. I can't remember whether we came from St Mawes, actually. We might have come across on the ferry at St Mawes to do that. I can't remember.
I think we did, yes.
Yeah. It's a very nice walk. It was a lovely day as well. And we stopped just the other side of the castle for a coffee and something on the other side, I think, didn't we, as well? So the thing about the Carrick Roads is it's incredibly popular for sailing, as you can imagine. Fantastic estuary for sailing in, but there is a problem in the fact that there are not nearly enough moorings for the people who want them. And we don't know if that's because there's people from up in London who want a mooring down here or what it is, but some people are having to wait years and years to get a mooring for their boat down here.
I did read yesterday about the fact that it's actually increased. The number of people who want moorings has increased significantly in the last year. And again, as Jill says, don't know whether that's because more people have boats or whether there's just more people who actually think, actually, it's a really nice place. You can't really see any of the moorings from here because there are so many little bits and pieces off And that's one of the great things
I think
about
the
it.
technical term is inlets.
Inlets. Okay, fair enough. And that's one of the great things about it is because of all these inlets, it is so quiet and it doesn't get any of the rough tides or anything, and it's just lovely to sail around apparently.
And actually, even when the tide's out, there's still a hell of a lot of area for sailing, isn't there? So, some of the inlets might dry up in the low tide, but actually, there's still a lot of sailing area that you can use, isn't there?
There certainly is, yes.
So we've arrived in Falmouth. The ferry wasn't too lumpy actually. The first
It wasn't
5
at all,
minutes or so
no.
was quite lumpy, but then once we got out of that bit, it was fine. And this is Falmouth. It's a very still day here, actually, isn't it?
It's lovely. Well, it's very cloudy, but it's very pleasant. It's not at all cold, actually.
No, it's not at all cold. I've got quite a few layers on. I really didn't need them on, but there you go.
No.
But yeah, this is lovely Falmouth, and we're going to go for a wander around and see what there is on offer. And you can see the shipyards behind us here. Quite a few. Pendennis shipyard is quite famous, and they're always advertising for staff. They do kind of bespoke yachts as well as refitting ships and that kind of thing. So presumably they are very, very good at what they do if they're always advertising for staff.
And there's often a number of military ships in here as well, so presumably they do that as well.
Yeah, and there's another boat coming from that way. I wonder if that's the ferry that goes up to the Carrick Roads or something, I don't know.
Presumably.
Yeah. So Falmouth is very much an independent shops kind of place. We passed the high street where there was lots of run-of-the-mill kind of shops, but this is a little bit that we like, and it's got lots of different independent-y shops. I think that's because Falmouth is a student town, and students like independent shops on the whole. Quite upmarket independent shops, a lot of them as well. But it's very nice to have a little wander around here as well. So we're now on the way back from from Falmouth to St Mawes, and it's a little bit choppier on the way back, but it's fine. And yeah, we had a nice wander around Falmouth, and now we're heading back to St Mawes. Lovely little beach here, which is just for St Mawes really. Very much a locals beach, but obviously a lot of people who come down here use it in the summer as well. When the tide's out, it's much bigger. We're just admiring how lovely this approach to St Mawes is. Lovely row of houses along the front there, church behind. Looks fantastic. I don't know quite how exposed they'd be if it was a very nasty weather though. Thinking about what the waves were like at Mevagissey the other day. Whether these houses will be getting wet, I'm not sure. Or whether they'd be protected by the fact they're on the estuary. Don't know, but they're lovely anyway.
And although there are some new houses here, it's actually nice to see on the front that all of them seem to be very traditional
Older houses, yeah. A few thatch cottages as well. Yeah, very nice. If you look at this house here that's boarded up, and you do wonder if that was water that broke the windows or whether that was anything else.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah.
As you say, it's probably like anything. It depends on the wind direction and where it's actually coming
State
from
of the
at the
tide,
time.
yeah. Probably wouldn't actually be too bad here because if you look, there's the opposite headland, isn't there? So I'm sure it'll be okay. So we were chatting to a lady on the ferry on the way over to Falmouth, and she was local from St Mawes, and she was saying that as a child when she grew up here there were 40 fishing boats that worked out of St Mawes, and now there's 2. And we were discussing the balance that needs to be made between tourists, which we do need in Cornwall, and making homes and provision for local people as well. And she was saying about the numbers in the local school which have dropped and that kind of thing. And it is a real balance that you have to maintain prices low enough that local people can buy, but you want to attract the tourists as well. I don't know what the answer is, but it is a problem in the whole of Cornwall, I'd say. So we had a nice time in Falmouth, didn't we?
Yeah, it was
Wandered
lovely.
around a little bit.
Nice boat ride.
Yeah, bit bumpy on the way back, but it was fine. Here you go, that's the boat just hooting in the background there.
I'm sure it could get a lot lumpier.
I'm sure it could indeed get a lot lumpier. She said it was fine, didn't she? So,
She did, yeah. Yes. So no, it's very pleasant.
It was.
Yep. And it's a lovely little village, St Mawes.
Not got a lot here, has it really?
It hasn't.
It's got a few coffee shops and a couple of restaurants, but it's like a lot of Cornwall, it's mostly for the tourists these days, isn't it,
Indeed.
unfortunately. So if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe and send us a comment.